Who can forget all of the shenanigans that happened at this circuit last? Certainly not me, because not only was this the spot of my final podium in NASA Rallycross, but I also embarrassingly crashed on the start over the start jump when I was on pole position in my heat race, but we're not going to talk about that one. Appropriately named the Wild Horse Rodeo by iDrive Sim Training, we had cars everywhere on that occasion, including that season's champion, Matt Hartley, flying out of the park in 2020A. If that was any indication of the insanity that is Wild Horse Pass Motorsports Park, we are in for a doozy of an event today. And on paper, when you see 1.5 miles and 4 corners, at least my mind goes immediately to NASCAR, but this is the polar opposite of it. We are proud to bring you coverage of the Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge presented by Nitro Circus, presented by Simracer Coin, the cryptocurrency made by Simracers for Simracers, and our 19 Simracers will race to own the winner's coin tonight. You can check out their mission, platform, and vision at simracercoin.org. As we go into our Drivers' Championship, presented by Simracer Coin, the top 10 coming into this round, Luke Krauss, defending champion, 123 points ahead of his teammate with 96, that's Josh Klog. Former champion Matt Hartley with 75, Jacob Harberts, the winner from this race that season, in 4th place in points. Magnus Okenhaug, Hartley's rival that season, with 70, tied with Kieran Forrest. Bodie Cryer, the Endurance Cup champion, I believe, from last season, ahead of Savian Ragster. Ray Kingsbury and David Schofield round out the top 10. The Sportsman Cup by KES Industries. Keep 'em Spinning Industries, adaptive controls for sim racing, KESindustries.com. Thank you to Mario Bonfante Jr. for all the support that you give us with this series. Andrew Howell and Parker Fleming are tied coming into this round. We will go over that in a little bit, but no Parker Fleming today, so Howell should be pulling away. Victor Aldrich in 3rd, Burgoon in 4th, and Robichaux in 5th. It was a tight battle until the sequential SimSport guys had some issues that we're trying still to figure out. The Constructors' Championship by Ferris Shifters. Shift your way to the top, facebook.com/Ferris Shifters. Fiercely forward, out and away from the rest of the field, ahead of LLM, 219 versus 152. And in the midfield of that Constructors' Championship, Ferris Shifters Dirt Esport, there is a battle raging on there. We don't have a graphic for this one, but the Manufacturers' Championship, powered by Majors Garage, Subaru is 50 points ahead of Volkswagen in that championship, as they have won all 4 races this season. Volkswagen and Ford have a 9-point difference. It's 79 to 70. As I will bring up a couple things. Clearly, unfortunately, we are not live on the Nitro Circus Twitch, as obviously, if you have a brain, you can figure that one out. Technical difficulties preventing that live stream. So we are on ASN On Demand this evening. Glad you can join us here. Josh Mertz, Cody Erdmann, Zack Johnson in the production truck. Cody, you did not race at this track, but I have to ask you, what are your thoughts, and what's going on with your team?
Hi, welcome everyone for joining in tonight. Yeah, unfortunately, our plane wasn't able to take off today, so unfortunately all of our drivers did not show up. So the haulers are sitting here, the cars are sitting out here for everyone to see, but no drivers. So unfortunately, Sequential Sims 4 will not be taking the grid tonight. Yeah, I didn't race here at all when we ran here a couple seasons ago, but I did do some testing, just kind of get familiar with the track, and it's gonna be a wild race like we've seen in the truck tracks last season. That the start finish line jump, if you don't get the landing right, it's a really rough landing and it'll send your car just like sideways. So I think that's gonna be something to watch, is making sure you land on the top of that tabletop properly. Otherwise the cars are gonna be everywhere. So that'll be something kind of to watch for, I noticed.
As we do have a couple more partners that we're going to mention, they bring us help us bring you coverage. Clearly, it's been a while for me for NASA Rallycross. iDrive Sim Training, drive safe, arrive safe. iDriveSimTraining.com.au and DNF Auto Care, your friendly Landsboro mechanic. DNFAutoCare.com.au. And once again, I personally will take the blame on this one. We do apologize without the live feed this evening, as Xfinity having some issues in Zack Johnson's neck of the woods. So as a result, unfortunately, it is not having a live show. As end of practice Cody Cryer, 37.195. Matt Hartley, 37.310. Okenhaug, 37.338. Where's our championship leader? Well, he didn't set a lap in this practice session, but I'd imagine that Luke Krauss certainly knows how to get around this track, Cody.
Daz, he's as you saw when you were loading in, seeing him having the black stripe now on the service here, being a pro driver. So we're gonna see how good everyone does here getting the opening laps. Do we have, as our truck track expert in our league here, Cody Cryer? I think he's probably gonna be the other one to watch tonight, because he knows how to get around these tracks.
I'm going to look at the stat book relatively quickly. I know you and I believe, have won the quote Endurance Cup in this series, and I think Cody Cryer won that last season. We remember that finish at Bark River. I can't remember who he was racing. I think it might have been Luke Krauss at that track, one of my favorite tracks on the service for Rallycross. If we look at the Endurance Cup, actually, no. According to this, he didn't win it, so I don't know if I've updated it or not. I'm going to scroll down to the very bottom here. We are in qualifying, so 5 minutes, 3 laps here on the iRacing service to try and see who will get that. I am inefficient at my job. Cody Cryer did win that championship, but I did not update that, so we know Cody Cryer, very good in the stadium trucks. This is a main track for the stadium trucks. And notice that line there that he just ran in the 05, as this track has, interestingly, I'm the only one to have driven it. This track has multiple lines in each corner, turn 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can go way out wide and ride the berm, or you can go way down to the bottom lane and really do a slide job going into turn 1 if we can stay on board with Cryer here. Over the second jump, I guess we're on board. This corner, you could park it on the apex, really shove your competitors out wide, gun it, and over the jump. So 2 and 3, because of their hairpins, almost Mickey Mouse in nature, you can also park it on the apex there. It's very interesting. You can hook the right front on the corner and then way out to the right of these whoops here. And when I was racing here, I would be really wide, cut it down for a late apex, a lot like Cryer did over the jump. And it's a very quick lap, but it is very hard to get laps right because of how you can't really notice the track limits, for lack of a better word, because of how the berms are. You can't notice them. So you're either driving on muscle memory or you're into the barrier. So certainly a fun one there. I believe we're looking at Luke Krauss in car number 1, our defending champion and points leader. He does have that black stripe as he hits the wall just like I did. And over in car number 1. Let me look. We're looking at the qualifying results, and I think he was just finishing his run. He's 0.4 of a second faster than Cryer. Where is Cryer? What did Cryer run? 37.741. So I don't think anyone's going to challenge Luke Krauss here.
Daz, Cody Cryer is the closest one, but 0.4 off. And then it's a real tight field after that. Just Krauss is the only one that's really set way ahead of the rest of the field.
As we are going to go over the format for today's race, the lap count is the same, as we have 6 laps in the heat races. No joker, obviously. Our graphic is only for the Rallycross tracks. Top 2 will advance. Semifinals, 2 races, 8 laps. Top 3 advance. Final is 10 laps. And there is a standing start, if it has been communicated correctly. When we ran here the first time and I crashed on the start, we had a rolling start, so something unique on the iRacing service. And there's also something new with the no damage on the service. There is no damage setting anymore. It is called the damage healing. Now, what's going to make this interesting? Not only you'll see the damage morph from a messed up car to a perfectly good car, but to be honest, I don't know if it's going to affect these drivers in the 2 seconds that the car is going to heal, Cody. So the good thing is, as Zack confirms that in my ear, thank you, sir. The interesting thing is, Cody, if you hit the jump wrong and you bust your right front suspension, it's not like you're the only one to be affected by that. So I don't know my opinion on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I was kind of watching it a little bit in practice here, waiting before we get going here, and I'm kind of thinking the same thing. I guess we're gonna all find out by a little bit of trial with fire. So it'll be definitely an entertaining thing to watch to see if it does affect, and I think we'll definitely hear about it too.
As we are just finishing up the qualifying session here in Chandler, Arizona, as we are beginning the halfway mark of this season in the Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge presented by Nitro Circus. So, grid for heat number 1, Luke Krauss on pole position ahead of Ray Kingsbury, Robbie Larill, Matt Kingsbury, David Schofield, and Ian Fisher. This is going to be a very interesting race. And I know I say that every single time, but I really don't have any other words because, especially at these truck tracks, take it from me how I crashed on my start. Oh, see, I've been gone. I almost died from a sinus infection. Kidding. I felt like I was dying, but I'm okay. Luke Krauss, given this grid here, Luke Krauss on pole position. I like this graphic. I've been gone for like 3 weeks. So thank you, Zack Johnson, for putting this together. As we notice, the manufacturer split. Ian Fisher in a Ford, Kingsbury in a Volkswagen, and everybody else in the Subaru. As we know how dominant the Japanese manufacturer's package is here on the iRacing service. As I'm going to, even though clearly it doesn't matter because it's on demand, hopefully we will be able to actually live stream this after the heat races. So that'll be nice. So Cody, what are your thoughts? I mean, what do you think? Anybody against Krauss?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the mindset right now. Is everyone try to get ahead of Krauss here and try to get ahead of him and see if they can mess him up. See if they can kind of rattle his cage a little bit. So we're able to run door to door, beat and bang a little bit here, especially with the new healing. So, and with the multiple grooves, you don't have to. You can almost race your own line and be safe. It's not this one line stuff like some of the tracks we deal with.
And that's honestly, I kind of wish we had more of these tracks because, my opinion, and I love this, I love iRacing, I love the tracks they've built, I love what we have, but this track, the truck tracks I guess in general, remind me a lot of the NR 2003 days. Because yeah, the track wears in, but it's not a one groove thing. So you have the opportunity to run multiple lines, to get a little argy-bargy, and you won't be in the fence because it's much wider than normal. So that, to be perfectly honest, that's why I think I probably was doing well. But anyways, pace truck is off, and might look odd to regular viewers of Rallycross, but we do have a rolling start here in Chandler, Arizona. Luke Krauss, Ray Kingsbury, Larill, Kingsbury, Schofield, Fisher, green flag for Heat 1. And over the jump, Krauss looks like he gets the jump ahead of Ray Kingsbury. Matt to the inside. Remember that slide job he did on everybody in the LCQ. Shoves his brother out wide. We know how quick he is in that Volkswagen. Over the jumps into turn number 2. And just like I mentioned, you park it on the apex. Kingsbury, Matt that is, hug the curb, or hug the cushion there, the berm, as he's still side by side with his brother. Have to take a different line into turn 3. Ray runs it wide as Kingsbury runs it wide. Tries to take the fight to the right of the berm and to the right of the whoops. As they're battling for the lead, rounding turn number 4. Luke Krauss loves to see this, though, as the brothers duel for second.
As we've seen this a couple times so far this season and going back to last season where these two just beat and bang on each other. Nothing like little brotherly love here.
As through turn 1, it looks like Matt got a little bit squirrely on the exit. Through turn 2, Larill sends it, and we've seen that line from him before. If I recall correctly, he ran that at Crandon, where he dive bombs, runs it wide, parks it on the apex, and somehow doesn't kill the field. And there's 3 different lines through the berms. Larill ran completely to the left in the whoops, and it actually almost helped him. I think he still sits in 4th. Kingsbury, Matt that is, over the jump, doing exactly what I did when I was on pole position in that heat race, and around goes car 21. Looks like he got in the way of Schofield in the 27, so we will write off Matt Kingsbury for a potential heat win here in Chandler, Arizona, but Luke Krauss 0.4 of a second faster than Ray Kingsbury in car 25.
I will have to say that Robbie, I think, is probably the most creative when it comes to lines, because if you remember when we went from back at Brands Hatch, he was doing like the most odd lines that we've never really seen, and he was the only one doing them and making them work. So
he is quicker in the whoops. I'm genuinely flabbergasted by this at his line. I rolled it back and looked. He's only hitting one of the whoops, and he's not taking the extra time to make that hard right and go over the whoops. We'll have to see how it really progresses as he's in traffic. He's still 0.5 down on Ray Kingsbury. But if we want to take a look, we'll take a look at Krauss here. He runs the line to the right of the whoops. And then if we look at Loril, he goes to the left of the whoops in the 213, and then scoots way out wide onto the outside, almost diamonding the corner. Let's see what the lap times look at. 37.3 versus, for Loril, a 38.1. So the problem is, Cody, we can't really tell if that line's helping him because there's other places, obviously, in the track that he could be losing time.
Yeah, I think depending on where he's losing, if maybe the first tight hairpin there, or the second corner, I'm not really sure, to be honest. We're gonna have to kind of really dissect his lap. Unfortunately, we can't really do that here at the moment, but well, maybe in between the races we'll kind of look at it as he gets a little wild there. I think that's part of it. It's kind of sketchy coming back onto the track.
White flag for Luke Krauss in car number 1, trying to maintain the near perfect season that he has in this championship. If I look at the results, he only has had an issue at Barcelona because, Cody, I want you to answer this question. There's only 2 people in the history of the championship that have won 3 races in a row. Maybe 3, and I'll ask you that answer in just a moment. But Luke Krauss comes around the final corner, and he will win heat number 1. Ray Kingsbury will transfer in the second position. Schofield, Kingsbury, Loril, as Loril is stuck. Oh, he is not stuck in turn 1. And, Cody, if you want to answer my question, the only drivers that have won 3 races in a row. And if you're wrong, it's okay.
If I remember, was it Mr. Sindre Silva was one? Am I right on that?
I think he won between seasons, but I was referencing in the middle of a season.
Well, in the middle of the season, I do know one, and that'd be myself.
So I will go through.
Was it Elliot Porter? No, he did the first 2.
Elliot only got the first 2. So historically, so you did it in 2016. No, you did it in 2014.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I think, did I do it twice?
14B Island Rally, 14B Munich, 14B Canada. And then I don't think I ever got 3 wins in a row. Let's look. Chris Wetz, that's an interesting one. I honestly didn't expect that one. Wetz won 2017B Seattle, 2017B Bent Twig, so Vancouver, and 2017C Valkenswaard. So I don't, I'll just count that. Where did my sheet go? Luckily, because it's not a live show, we can go over a couple of different things. And Magnus Hartley over the radio just says, Magnus, we meet again, referencing that 2020A issue that they had there.
And Barcelona. They were not happy with each other at Barcelona either.
Take a look at the grid for Heat 2. Magnus Okenhaug, Matt Hartley, Josh Klog, Daniel Aish, Russell Peterson, and James Watson. 5 Subarus and a Volkswagen getting ready to go for this Heat race. As I continue to look through this stat book here, as we have a little bit of time before we get going. Phil did it in 2020A. There's no way he won 3 races. Apparently he did. And we look at Hartley, Jake Robertson, Connor, Sindre. Sindre won 4 in a row. That's the record.
Yeah.
So nobody's won more than 3 except for Sindre. And Luke has that opportunity here. As we have had a long history in the Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge. I don't think I've updated it last time. Is it race number 201? As I missed race number 200. Had a sinus infection a couple weeks ago, but we are all okay. Magnus Okenhaug on pole against his then championship rival Hartley. We take the green flag in heat number 2. Clogged to the inside of Hartley, down to turn 1, but Aish, we know how aggressive he is, forces his way through. Clog is in the sandwich in the middle, into the fence. And the fiercely forward driver gets to the end of the fence and he doesn't get out. So his race is run. After 1 corner, he does get out. He puts it into reverse, side by side, Hartley and Okenhaug through turn 2 and into turn 3. Hartley runs the wider line. I thought he was going to cut down. against Magnus. They both run to the right of the whoops. So does Aish, so does Watson. Everybody does except Larill so far in this field, and Hartley to the inside of his championship rival from 2020A, and the former champion does not lead at the end of the first lap. It's Norwegian Magnus Okenhaug. Okenhaug runs it wide. I was trying to give you an opportunity. Hartley's going to sneak to the inside. Okenhaug, high, wide, and handsome on the outside, holds the lead.
Yeah, this place is a lot like what we used to race in Vegas, the track that we ran in NR 2003, where we could run the top and the bottom, which gives us some beautiful racing. Let's see if we can see if White Castle will open up and pull some sliders out.
Aish sneaking into the picture in the 33, and Hartley behind Okenhaug in the 26. Magnus has not won in quite some time. It's going to be steep competition for everybody else in regards to Luke Krauss, as they both are a little bit squirrely over the jump, but they both save it there as we are pulling away from Russell Peterson in car number 9 as we look at the order so far. Side by side once again. This track, it's easy to get alongside, but it's hard to pass. To the outside, Hartley, Okenhaug checks him in the 26. I've seen that move and done that move once before, many times actually, through the whoops. This is an enthralling battle for the lead in Heat 2. Okenhaug put the right rear on the flat over the jump, still leads. And I have to agree with you, I didn't think about the Las Vegas correlation, but that track was one of my favorites, and this track, one of my favorites as well.
Yeah, as I noticed that Hartley, he's trying to flick the car to start turning in midair. So he's like turning before the jump is clocks kind of, or eight.
Side by side, Okenhaug and Hartley made contact over the jump, and Okenhaug pushed out wide. Aish also hit the berm on the inside of turn 2, so Okenhaug goes from first to third. No communication over the radio between them. Normally Hartley would be very apologetic, but nothing so far as we take 2 laps to go here in Arizona.
As now let's see if Okenhaug can recover, as Aish is running that super short line there. I don't know if it's much faster. It seems like it.
Lap time wise, he's half a second down on his former teammate Hartley. Okenhaug through turn 2, trying to shove the 33 out of the way. Clog has gotten by Watson in the 39 for 5th. We know that that doesn't necessarily matter. Side by side, Aish and Okenhaug. The only place that's one groove is the whoops. And Okenhaug gets nudged again. And nudged again. Shoved off into the flat, and we know how upset he's going to be. We know how charged up he gets, trying to push into the wall, and around goes Okenhaug in the 26. It adds insult to injury. I'll let you finish your point in a minute, but Okenhaug was leading that inaugural race in 2020A here, had an issue over the whoops, and I won't even try and describe that race. It was pure insanity. We had 5 cars going for the lead for half of that race.
As Aish wasn't a big fan of getting pushed out wide, so he gave it right back. I think he kind of sent the message there that, hey, if you want to use the fenders, I'm not afraid to also. They'll kind of goes off track again.
Checkered flag. Hartley wins Heat 2. Daniel Aish in second will transfer. Peterson and Okenhaug coming to the line for 4th contact as they land. And it looks like Okenhaug did not get 3rd. Home in 5th and Clog in 6th. As Hartley, no comment from the accident between him and Okenhaug. He only said, well done to Dan on the transfer. So interesting there. As Heat 3 getting ready to go. As we'll take a look at the grid for our final heat. Defending Endurance Cup champion Bodie Cryer in the 05, Jason Hook in the 137. Then we have Andrew Howell in the 666, Justin Robichaux in the 93, Victor Aldrich in the 98, and Nathan Ramsey in car number 29. 4 Subarus, 2 Volkswagens in this heat race. This is one of my favorite tracks, like I mentioned before. I want to hear your thoughts through 2 heat races.
I'll have to say, it's been really entertaining. Having the multiple grooves and everything, like I said, it reminds me a lot of Vegas, and we put on some pretty good shows when we were in Vegas back in the day. So, and then just being able to, I don't think the damage, what we were talking about earlier with the damage healing, I don't think it's really affected them much. So I think that's something we don't have to worry about.
as, again, breaking the fourth wall. I was testing the IndyCar for my race at Barber for the Championship Series. Championship Series runs this week, I believe. We're at Iowa. I don't run ovals. So, preparing for that. Anyways, long story short, I demolished this car into the tire barrier, and it takes a second for it to fix. So maybe the amount of damage will either accelerate or decelerate the repair time. So these guys aren't getting too much damage, and that's why it's able to be repaired. Who knows? Green flag for Heat 3. We'll figure it out. Huge jump for Hook on the start. He's into Cryer, as along with Howell, the three Ferris shifter cars into each other, and we've already had a crazy start, as I thought Cryer was certainly going to go into the fence there. In turn 2. Hook to the inside of his teammate. Remember, these guys aren't technically teammates. iDrive Sim and Ferris shifters on paper, but it's all the DGRX cars, and certainly they know how to put on a good show. Robichaux to the inside of Howell, can't get it done, and nobody's running the outside of the whoops. I'm taking a look through the field, and Victor Aldrich was way off the track. He came together with Nathan Ramsey in the 29, and they both had to go around the jump, as both of them are having issues, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. As Robichaux rolls it in turn 1, and the Beetle, back on all 4 tires, sits in 4th spot. So this is going to be a DGR 1-2-3, and it's going to be a duel for this transfer spot and even the win. As Hook to the inside of Cryer in the 0-5. Cryer now runs the outside line. Hook goes through the whoops, and this is a good real show as to the whoops versus going around them, as Hook lost a lot of time over Cryer.
Yeah, unfortunately, these cars don't have the suspension travel like the trucks that are built for this do. So, I think going around them, words are hard, is definitely a lot faster and easier. You'll be able to carry more speed through them, unlike the trucks where they can just skip right over the top of them.
As Victor Aldrich has retired in the Volkswagen, Nathan Ramsey sits in 5th in the 29. We go back to our battle for the race lead. Cryer doesn't run, or runs the whoops this time. Hook does as well. As high, wide, and handsome Kyle Larson Dale Jr. line through turn 4. And such a huge jump as we take cross flags in heat number 3. Hook hit the berm there on the inside. It's very tricky to get right, because it looks like you can gain so much time, and then you hit the berm and you're completely off pace.
Yeah, it's definitely, this track has some very deceiving spots where, like, especially the inside berm with a fresh track, it's so hard to see, so you catch it and you be like, uh-oh, and then go flying or tumbling like Robichaux did a couple laps ago.
I wish that you were here that race to run that. That was an insane race. 2 laps to go for Bodie Cryer, Jason Hook, as Howell. We look at lap times: 37.688, 37.9, 38.0 to a 39.1 for Robichaux in car number 93. Nathan Ramsey in the 29 still on track, and Victor Aldrich off track in the 98 for Team Watson Racing. We're coming to the white flag here in Arizona, and they're really not pushing. There's a 0.3 of a second gap. They're not going around the whoops. Howell is trying to catch his teammate, but these guys have calmed down considerably after the start there. 37.4 to a 37.7. Dare I say it, but the calamity, instead of being in the middle of the race and at the end, was at that start originally.
Yeah, I think once they're able to kind of spread out here a little bit and run their own race, they can just kind of be able to almost act like a practice session, get good laps in, figure out a little bit of the track and how it develops here. Is who was that was P2 at the moment? Hook was sideways there going into the corner. I don't know if he did that on purpose or he just caught the bump wrong, but he was completely sideways going into the one hairpin.
Checker flag. Cryer wins heat number 3 in the 0-5 ahead of his satellite teammate Jason Hook. Howell will go to one of the semifinals ahead of Robichaux, Aldrich, and Nathan Ramsey. So we were trying to get a replay, I believe, of the start. Here we go. What a jump by Hook. And Cryer wasn't even affected by Hook. He jumped, he landed wrong, just like I did. I remember that one. He saved it. Hook came down in front of Howell, and that's all she wrote. As we get ready for the first semifinal here in Chandler, Arizona, Russell Peterson, Matt Kingsbury, Justin Robichaux, James Watson, Ian Fisher, and Victor Aldrich. Unless I completely read the wrong one. Oh, yep, C-Main. Ignore me. Good thing this isn't live. Schofield, Howell, Oakenhaug, Larill, Ramsey, and Clog. I know what I'm doing. It's a really good job. Really good time. So this is a 8-lap race. So top 3 transfer. So it looks like we're going to be missing 6 cars at least from this race. We will be, as we do have 6 left. So we have 18 cars on the entry list today. But dare I say it, a small field. And I laugh at that because we used to have the 6 cars. But a smaller field tonight.
I'll say 6 cars. This was our final.
This was our grid size, just for the new viewers of NASA Rallycross. Back in 2017, this was all we had, was 6 cars. So that was a good time. Schofield, Oakenhaug. I really can't pick a winner from this semifinal. We got 8 laps to decide this one. And Schofield will lead us down to the green flag for an 8-lap race, and 3 cars will transfer green flag in Arizona. Huge jump for Howell. He clips the sign, stays straight into turn 1. Way wide in the 666. Can he get the position? 1 car into the wall. It was one of the DNF cars. Howell got checked by Schofield as they're still beating and banging into turn 2. Everybody's still straight. Clog to the inside. Oakenhaug is there. Ramsey was the one, or sorry, it was Larill who had that issue. Schofield holds the lead. Howell dives in on Schofield into turn 3. Clog is there as well. Through the whoops for the first time. Nobody runs it wide. Oakenhaug does, as Schofield runs it wide out of the whoops. Contact with Oakenhaug and Clog as we end the first lap. It is Andrew Howell who leads us in Arizona ahead of Schofield, Clog, Oakenhaug, Ramsey, and Larill into turn 1. Clog to the inside of Schofield. Howell trying to pull away, but what a first lap for Andrew Howell in the 666.
As Howell was sideways down that second straightaway there, I'm totally surprised he was able to hold on and fight back to get to the lead. I believe he did give Schofield a little bit of a bump through the whoops that was able to send him to the right a little bit, so he was able to cut underneath and get around him.
As Oakenhaug tagged Clog a little bit, tried to maybe turn him, pivot him around the 27 of Schofield. Schofield, I think, dare I say it, might be quicker than Howell in the 666, but Howell was on it on that start. I lied. Howell was a 10th up on Schofield. Josh Clog 38.939, Oakenhaug 39.118. And what's really nice about this track, like I mentioned before, when you have a bunch of cars like this and are on the same pace, you don't know who's going to win. So we've got 6 laps and 4 cars on top of each other. Less than a second. Clog tries it again on Schofield, can't get it done.
As Magnus kind of gives his Clog a little bit of a shot here. Let's
Look
see
at the line through the whoops. Really wide in the 26, mid-corner, but Clog is going to hold it as he blocks the 26. That is interesting. I thought Oakenhaug could have cleared him.
Yeah, I kind of figured he'd try to shoot up to the top and be up there, but he stayed off the back bumper a little bit. Didn't peek his nose up there.
Down to turn 2 once again. Howell controlling that, because if you run it wide like that and park it a little bit wider on the apex, you have the opportunity to get the better line off the corner. Howell it was Clog that tried it into Schofield, and it's going to cost Clog a spot and then some ground. But Howell running the perfect line, because if you essentially you triangle the corner, and it prevents anybody else from getting to your inside, because yeah, they can get there, but you have the longer piece of track to run off the corner. Half a second up over Schofield is Howell.
And having a straighter exit up off the corner is a lot faster than still arcing it off. That's the big thing with having a late apex or diamond in the corner. You get that nice straight launch, and you're able to put all that power down.
As Oakenhaug trying to sneak in on his teammate. Clog to the inside of the 26, roughing him up, is the 199. And Oakenhaug puts his car conveniently right in the middle of the road, so Clog can't do anything about it. As we just took cross flags, we take lap 6, 3 laps to go.
Ooh, as Magnus gets crossed up and Clog is able to get around him.
As this is a fight for the transfer spot, as I missed that, I was paying attention to the lap times, so thank you for clearing that one up. And now Oakenhaug's going to be on the outside looking in, as we only have, remember, the top 3 transfer to the feature here in Chandler, Arizona.
There's now Magnus is going to have to put his head down and see if he can catch back up to Clog. Just was able to get around him, and then unfortunately, like I was kind of talking in the beginning, if you land on that tabletop wrong, it sends you in a really just random direction, and unfortunately it was not the direction that he wanted.
We've talked about Larill's line throughout the show this evening. I don't think that his inside line on the whoops is helping him at all, because he has to get over the last whoop, and then he essentially has to drive over the berm in the 213. And Okenhaug obviously slower that last lap because of the incident in turn 1, but I think he's been consistently faster than Clog. If I look at lap times, he's been a pinch faster every single lap. Not just a pinch, he was half a second faster.
Howell self-spun.
Howell spins in the 666 from the lead. How did he do that one? He landed wrong and he clipped the berm on the inside. So the 666 goes from the lead, but Okenhaug into the fence in the 26. Where is he? He flew out of the track. So we lost him. He was in a transfer spot. Who is leading this race? It's Schofield. And now, Howell on the outside looking in. He has Larill to try and get by.
Guys, this is the white flag.
As we come to the checkered flag, Okenhaug out of the park, just like Hartley in that inaugural race. Larill's going to run his outside line, but I don't think it's going to help. Howell ran the whoops. Schofield wins. Clog is second, and Larill's in. He transfers in the 213 checkered flag for semifinal A, as Howell on the outside looking in dominated this race until he spun in turn 4. 5th is Ramsey. 6th is Okenhaug. And remember the intro, Cody. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. It kind of came. Oh, words are really hard today. I can tell we're both rusty from not commentating Sonoma. Like I was saying earlier in the beginning of the show, like landing on this track, I noticed the couple quick practice laps I did around this place. Like landing with these cars here is like so rough that if you land wrong, you almost have to land perfect to be able to run a good lap each lap. Otherwise, it's going to send you completely off, like what we saw Magnus do and what we just saw Andrew do. The landing was rough, and it's turned the car the wrong direction, and unfortunately, both of them having that, they weren't able to transfer in.
As now, this grid is correct. So Russell Peterson, Matt Kingsbury, Justin Robichaux, James Watson, Ian Fisher, Victor Aldrich, and for the first time in a while, there are more Volkswagens than Subarus. Or actually, Subaru is the minority in this heat race. So, Russell Peterson flying the flag for the Japanese manufacturer in semifinal B.
Did Matt win this one or Crandon?
Matt, his only victory in the Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge is Wild West.
Okay, so
in Sparks, Nevada.
Yes.
So he won the track before this in that season.
I wasn't sure if it was Wild Horse or Wild West.
Wild Horse was Jacob Harbert's in 2020A. Actually, technically, it was Philip Krauss on the road, but then he crashed into a bunch of people in the LCQ and we disqualified him, I think. Getting ready for semifinal B. I'll elaborate on that story in a minute. Peterson very slow on this start. Robichaux through the middle. Honestly, I don't know what we're going to do, or what the stewards, I should say, are going to do on that start. But the Canadian shoves his teammate wide, doing the exact same thing that Kingsbury did in that race. Aldrich gets clocked by Peterson in turn 1. And Robichaux to the lead. But I don't know if he's going to get a penalty from the sim or race control. Turn 2, runs it wide, contact, and Kingsbury's over in the Volkswagen, but he saves it. He's on 4 tires again. Peterson in car number 9 runs it way wide in turn 3. And remember what I told you, this track gets crazy. At the end of the first lap, the Canadian Justin Robichaux will lead, and I don't think he's made a feature race in his career yet. Ahead of his teammate Matt Kingsbury, Russell Peterson in car number 9, ahead of Aldrich, Fisher, and we are missing one car. We are missing James Watson in the 39. He disconnected after his heat race.
I wonder if connection problem with him. As according to stewards, the start is clean.
As what a start from Robichaux then in the 93. And you know what I think? To avoid the sim, because I don't think race control actually penalizes, technically, He was in the middle, but he passed. He didn't pass. I think it was Kingsbury on his outside. He didn't pass the outside car, only passed the inside car. So great awareness for the Canadian, and what a start as we begin lap 3.
Yeah, it's now the two.
As I talk about that, Robichaux rolls it exiting turn 1. Will he get back going? He's going to be ahead of Peterson. No, he won't. Aldrich is into the fence in turn 1. So this is going to put Ian Fisher in the transfer spot unless Robichaux can get back going. Aldrich halfway out of the park here. He's hanging into the void. And now Matt Kingsbury back to the lead.
As I was about to say that Dirt Esports Volkswagens are 1-2, but unfortunately, Ray is about to say that Robichaux decides to flip his Beetle.
He tried to do what Herbie did in at California and ride the fence. Clearly didn't work. Fisher in the Ford Fiesta off the road. What is going on in this race?
As we have 2 cars parked in the fence.
I think that's it. I think the only cars that are left are the transfer cars. And I have not seen a race with this attrition since Negus. It was what was it? I think it was 2017 or 2018 when we had a final. We only had 3 cars left.
As Victor Aldrich was able to get out of the fence. But unfortunately, I think he's like 2 laps down now.
If we look at the results here, he is technically 1 lap down according to this last count. And so we don't get Watson at the start. Peterson ran it wide, exiting turn 4. He missed, he spun, but he completely skipped the jump in the 9, and then he spun in turn 1.
As Robichaux was able to get back by him, so now this will be Dirt Esports 1 and 2 again.
So Aldrich in the 98 is sitting in 5th technically once this cycles back around. And I'll have to look once timing updates. Given the connection issues with Mr. Zack Johnson, it's literally potato quality on our internal stream here on Discord. So let me see. Aldrich is 2 laps down. Fisher is 1. And the only cars on the lead lap are the transfer cars.
Yeah,
Let me tell you, we might have to step away for the warm-up and take a break.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have to collectively catch our breaths to get ready for this feature race. As we still have 2 laps to go. Still 2 to go for Kingsbury in the 21. Theoretically, one of these guys could exit stage right, fly out of the track. I wasn't supposed to jinx him. As Kingsbury into the wall, the inside wall, still obviously in the lead. Fisher exits the pit lane, so the tow truck has fixed him up. So don't drive too hard, gentlemen. You're going to be in this feature race unless you fly out of the track. But clearly it's not that easy. Clearly it's not that hard to do here in Wild Horse.
As Matt is now just trying to limp it around to make sure he doesn't make the same mistake twice.
Through turn 4. Victor Aldrich on the inside in the 98. Robichaux in the 93 after rolling. You know what that reminds me of? And granted, there's still a lap to go. Aldrich crashes, exiting the jump from the start-finish line. He'll stay out of the way. Granted, we have a half a lap to go for Kingsbury, but he still has the opportunity to win this race, does Robichaux. And you know why I'm saying this? Remember when the Wets won the heat race against me in Indianapolis, he rolled it and won the race.
He very much did. So we have had it a couple times where made a major mistake, but able to rally back from it.
Final corner. It's not going to happen. Matt Kingsbury will survive semifinal B and become the, if I do my math correctly, should be the 9th seed here in Arizona ahead of Robichaux. And the final seed will be Russell Peterson. In the 9, he will come home. In 3rd, he will be 12th overall.
Which I believe is that his first final?
I believe it is. Is certainly, unfortunately, did not make it when I was here. I don't know about the results last time out in Sonoma. As I think we're gonna step away for just a moment. We'll let you guys take in the sounds of these rally cars as we prepare for round 5 of the championship.
As welcome back everyone here to lovely Wild Horse.
As we get ready for the feature race here in Chandler, Arizona. Josh Mertz, Cody Erdmann, Zack Johnson in the production truck. As obviously it doesn't matter because we're on demand in this specific show. But we mentioned earlier that we were going to try and do a live stream, but Xfinity's still not cooperating. So apologize there for all of our viewers and partners. We have 12 cars getting ready to take part in this race. As our broadcast brought to you by Simracer Coin, the cryptocurrency made by Simracers for Simracers, and our 12 Simracers will race to own the winner's coin tonight. The favorite coming in has to be defending champion Luke Krauss as we take a look at the results. Or sorry, I should say the, lap times. I know how to read. Where are the warm-up results? I don't know where they are. But anyways, he's faster than the rest of the field, I think. So that's a good thing for him. But bad for everybody else.
Yeah, it's all gonna be about surviving the first lap. I think he can survive that first lap and get out front. He can possibly get, 3 in a row, as we were talking about earlier?
He's going to get 4 in a row today if he gets it right. So, starting grid for the Wild Horse Rodeo presented by iDrive Sim Training, we have defending champion Luke Krauss on pole position alongside him, 2028 champion Matt Hartley. Row number 2, Bodie Cryer, the defending Endurance Cup champion. Next to him, the defending, well, not really defending because he's not defending this championship, Sportsman Cup champion Ray Kingsbury from last season. Daniel Aish, Jason Hook in row 3. Row 4, David Schofield and Matt Kingsbury. Row 5, Josh Klog and Justin Robichaux. Row 6, Robbie Larill and Russell Peterson will be our last row of the grid. Round number 201 of the championship overall, and the 5th round of the 24th season, hopefully I got that one right, of the Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge. And Cody, I'm just going to tell you if that heat races in semifinal or any indication, where are the hard hats available? Because we'll need them.
Yeah, thankfully I think we're high enough up and far enough back from the track we don't have to worry about flying objects, hopefully. Pretty good. So, as now we have double the amount of cars on this track than we have in any race tonight so far, so this should be entertaining.
As we get ready for the feature race, safety truck is off. Remember, it's an odd rolling start here in Wild Horse, and we have had shenanigans all evening long. Glad you can join us on the Automotive Sports Network on demand for this round of the championship. Luke Krauss and Hartley, former champions, lead us to the green flag. We're underway in Arizona. Clean start so far. Cryer to the inside of Hartley. Cryer to the inside of Krauss. Way wide in turn 1. Hello, Daniel Aish. 3 wide with Cryer, Hartley, and Aish out of turn 1 into turn 2. Sliding. Aish is into the wall. He's in the penalty box, you could say, as Cryer gets pushed out wide. Exiting turn 2, we have Krauss. We have Hook, Hartley, Kingsbury, Klog, Kingsbury, Schofield, Larill, Robichaux, Cryer. Aish exited that penalty box into Peterson, exiting turn number 2. Kingsbury gets shoved over the wall in the 25 through turn 4. What a send by Ray Kingsbury. But after the end of the first lap, Luke Krauss leads. 1 car around. It looks like, I think it was Daniel Aish. Robichaux in 7th. Clipped the berm on the inside, and Luke Krauss loves this. Way out ahead of Hartley in the 48, but we know that this race, it doesn't matter if you're a car length or 10 seconds up the road, anything can happen.
As that mid pack just got completely crazy and they weren't able to settle down there, as now we have 2 of the fair shifter guys, 2nd and 3rd, and Josh Klog and just Schofield, sorry, as running out your top 5 here. It seems like a lot of the guys that were in the B and C main that's in the semifinals, they're actually now sitting in the midfield here, as a lot of the mid-pack guys at the time that started, they all just decided to wreck each other.
As I'm on board the 48 of Hartley on my feed, and he's doing the historical thing that he does. He's in 5th gear, no shifting, utilizing the torque of the Subaru engine versus everybody else shifting. So it's good to see that that hasn't changed. And Krauss isn't either. That is interesting, because when I ran this track, I was shifting. I maybe was probably lowest gear was third. But these guys are staying in fifth gear through this entire race.
As nothing's changed up front, Luke Krauss is running about half a second a lap faster each lap. He ran a 37.4 to Hartley's 38 flat.
Contact with, it looks like, Clog and Hook gets shoved out wide in the 137, but he's going to fight back on the inside through turn 4. Clog's going to have that better run off the corner, and he takes the third position. And Josh Clog trying to barrel and catch Matt Hartley, make it a fiercely forward 1-2 finish, and lengthen their stranglehold on the championship. As Josh Clog is in second in the Drivers' Championship, 30 points behind his teammate. As with no bonus points for a heat win, this is crucial if he wants to try and fight his teammate for the championship. But Luke Krauss in a zip code of his own in car number 1.
As I was kind of scrolling.
Robichaux around in the 93. Ooh, that's a little bit dangerous. But he saves us the catastrophe. He's back on track.
As I'm scrolling through the field here looking at lap times, our second fastest car each lap is P8 Bodie Cryer. So, we get one car crossed.
Grill gets turned
by Ray. As I was about to say, he's the third fastest car on the track.
And now, back going in the 213. Luke Krauss, 37.654 was his last lap. Who is in second? We have Matt Hartley. So I was scrolling through the entire field. So Robichaux stays out of the way of our race leader in car number 1. And Hartley, 37.895. He was 0.2 of a second down on the race leader. So I think, dare I say it, the battle is for second here. No, Krauss! Krauss slips! He does the same thing that Okenhaug did! Not as bad, though, but through the whoops. That exact same thing, he landed wrong. Oh, that could have been catastrophe. I saw it out of the corner of the shot that Zack had there. Don't throw it away. You got 3 laps to go and a huge margin ahead of Hartley here. 4.8 seconds.
Yeah, fortunate for him, nobody was really pressuring him. Otherwise, that would have been a lot worse. But with that big of a lead, he's able to make that small mistake and able to get going.
So we take a look. Let's see if he'll do it again. Much slower through the whoops this time. He's not even going to try and jump through them. And Hartley, 38.0. Despite his little incident there, Krauss was a 38.4 last lap. 2 laps to go here in Arizona. 37.747. Hartley, 37.9. It's been a consistent 0.2 of a lap, 0.2 of a second, I should say, faster. As we pay attention to Schofield, Kingsbury, and Cryer, 3 wide. I think this is for 5th. This is for 5th. As we take a look, Kingsbury to the inside of his teammate. Robichaux got complained at by Hartley to stay out of the way. Blue flags for the 93. Blue flags for the 93 again to get out of the way of the 199. The battle for second is raging on as we take the white flag with Luke Krauss.
This Clog has been the faster of the last couple laps. It's only been about a 1/10 or 2, although that time Hartley was 2/10 up on him.
Will there be a fiercely forward 1-2 finish? We'll have to see, but we are witnessing history once again because potentially he's into the wall! Krauss is into the wall in turn 3! Will he save it? He does. He's gonna get through it again. And for the second time in championship history, someone will go 4 race wins in a row. Defending champion Luke Krauss wins in Arizona and spins at the checkered flag ahead of Matt Hartley, the former champion, in the 48. Third place will be Josh Clog, Hartley's second podium in a row. Hook, Cryer, Ray Kingsbury, Schofield, Aish, Matt Kingsbury, Robbie Larill, Robichaux, and Russell Peterson. What a race in Arizona. An almost catastrophe for our championship leader.
Because I think he was just trying to make it a little bit entertaining for us, knowing he had a big lead.
Wow. So, interestingly, he was riding the wall in turn 2. Don't exploit that, please. But, what a race. Hartley's been made fun of over the radio. Robbie Larill said you're supposed to be cussing at this time of the race. And, he, was not, clearly. So hopefully we'll have a chat with our race winner here, but we'll take a look at the results for the feature race. Luke Krauss will win once again the Wild Horse Rodeo presented by iDrive Sim, 3 seconds ahead of Matt Hartley in car number 48, the former champion. Josh Klog, so it's a fiercely forward double podium, 1 and 3. As Ferris Shifters, 2 and 4. Jason Hook, good run for him. Bodie Cryer had some issues on the first lap of the race, what could have been for the 0-5. Ray Kingsbury in 6th, Schofield 7th, Aish in 8th, Kingsbury 9th, Larill in 10th, 11th Robichaux, 12th will be Peterson. Off graphic, we have the remaining running order as these guys were eliminated from contention through the semifinals. Nathan Ramsey, Victor Aldrich, Andrew Howell, Ian Fisher, Magnus Okenhaug, and James Watson rounds out our 18-car field. As we'll try and get interviews here with our top 3. No guarantees, but we will take a look here. As Cody, I guess we'll do this a little bit backwards. I want to hear some opinions or a final thought from you while we wait for our interviews.
As we've learned since we've been coming to these tracks, that we have learned that they're crazy and they are wild. Hence, thank God it's in the name, because it's very fitting. It's each truck track we've gone to has just been utter chaos. We've had door-to-door coming across the line finish that is kind of hard to get in a normal rallycross track, but with these where multiple lines are available, we've had that at Park River last season. Now this, we had crazy lap 1 and then possibly a driver throwing it away to make history, but he ended up having a big enough lead that he was able to recover and still be able to make the history. So I think we've definitely have found a little bit of gold here with these tracks, and we'll keep going on with it.
As we still await our interviews, so we'll go over a couple programming notes while we wait. We do have the RK Designs Championship Series, NASA Championship Series. On Wednesday, we go to Iowa, and that one's going to be a fun race. That's the one oval that I want to run. I wish I could, but we'll see. You'll join Chad Irvine and Dylan Livingood in the commentary box. Zach Johnson in the production truck for that race. The Penguin RC Simulation NASA Sports Car Challenge is off for the next 2 weeks, as Mr. Zach Johnson has previous commitments on Thursday, and then the old man has his birthday the following week, October 7th. So happy early birthday to our director. Who the hell am I calling old? He says, you. And so Sports Cars will be back October 14th for a 4-week run in a row. Barber, Bathurst, Mo Sport, and Road Atlanta. So that's going to be the middle portion of the season before we cap that one off. And I don't think we're going to have any interviews today, so we might go ahead and just wrap this one up. As from all of us here at the Automotive Sports Network and North American Simulated Auto Racing, along with Nitro Circus, we thank you for joining us for this presentation of the Simracer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge. As coverage today was brought to you by Simracer Coin, the cryptocurrency made by Simracers for Simracers. And while we had 18 Simracers who raced to own the winner's coin tonight, only Luke Krauss came out on top for the 4th consecutive week. As we'd also like to thank Majors Garage for powering our series, along with KES Industries, iDrive Sim Training, DNF Auto Care, and Ferris Shifters. Rallycross is off next week. We'll join you October 11th at Iowa for the 6th round of the championship. But we hope to see you on Wednesday for the RK Designs NASA Championship Series at the Iowa Speedway. But like I said, from all of us, Cody Erdmann, Josh Mertz, and Zack Johnson, we will see you either Wednesday or in a couple weeks. But until then, so long, everyone.